Hi everyone. Today it's my great pleasure to welcome our coach Daniel here today. So, how are you, Daniel?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm good. I'm good. It feels like I haven't done this in a while, so I was looking forward to chance to chat with you and to just answer questions. It's always fun to just answer questions as they come up live and et cetera, et cetera. I enjoy that very much. So anyway, all good here.
Perfect. I had to apologize to Daniel because I was running a little bit late. So yeah, I'm still feel like I'm still running, so I have to calm down a little bit. And yeah, I have checked on the YouTube channel that there have been quite a few really nice questions, and we can already jump in and we can start with the first one that we have got, and this one is from Ian. So hi Ian, hi Veronica, hi Daniel. Thank you as always for all of the information you provide free of charge on your channel. In your experience, is there one part of the recovery journey that people most struggle with? I appreciate this may be a difficult question as we all have our individual characteristics and areas we may find particularly more challenging. Thanks, Ian. So, Daniel, what are your thoughts where people struggle the most?
Yes, you'll definitely have some thoughts on this that I want to share. And just briefly want to say good evening to Jazz from the UK and to official SK. So nice that you're both there. But yes, back to the question. You know, the particular situation that came to mind as a very common one is the one where we have students saying like, hey, on an intellectual cognitive level, I understand everything, but it seems like there's no change for me. Like I'm still
Mhm.
struggling, I'm still anxious, I'm still not sleeping well. And so that place where there is like intellectual cognitive understanding, but like in a deeper, like in the subconscious level or emotional level or whatever we want to call it, things haven't really started to lead to kind of a shift or a change. That is a very common challenging situation, and it's kind of frustrating because again, people say like, I know everything. There's nothing left really to teach or learn, but still things haven't changed for me. That is a very common challenging situation. Now, naturally, when I bring this up, the follow-up question becomes like, so what do you do then? Well, this is one of those places where I'm still like very open to people's suggestions and thoughts and ideas. But I'll say two things that I found to be helpful. One is the North Star idea, and for anyone who wonders about this, you can search the YouTube channel for like the North Star, or just even Google like Insomnia Insight North Star. You will find it. And the idea there's basically the following: that we like, if you think about, let's say, a company or how things are approached in the entrepreneurial space, it is well known that we humans, we do our best work when we're actually just given kind of a North Star, and our employer says, we want you to achieve this, you figure out how. um, of course, this is a scenario where we do know, we have a lot of domain expertise, we know our job, and our job, and our boss says like, we want you to achieve this, but you figure out how. Then we do a really good job. The situation or circumstances where we don't is where we have like a micromanager and somebody's looking over our shoulder who's constantly like, why do you do that, why are you doing that, how about this, like constant feedback and interjection, etc., etc. Then we don't have the kind of peace of mind to just do our job, right? And I think the very same thing plays out inside us, that when we have the intellectual knowledge, then we're all somehow often pressuring ourselves, like, you should get this, why aren't you sleeping better, why aren't you feeling less anxious, what's going on? And it's somehow we don't allow our brain to kind of reconcile all these things and let the shift happen, if you will. So what I think can help in this situation is like, give ourselves a North Star to say like, okay, we have all the cognitive understanding, what I want here is to be kinder to myself. And then when we hear the question like, how do I do that, then we're like, no, now I'm trying to micromanage again. Like, all I want is to be kinder to myself, and I'll let my brain figure out how. Or all I want to do is to, be less reactive, let's say, just make that a North Star and let things follow. And so that's one way. And the other way is kind of the more like experiential learning, which is that even if you know everything intellectually, it may be when you experience something that it fully sinks in. So having kind of a willingness to experience things we have avoided before can lead us to experientially learn things. I'll stop there to not make this too long, but that's what came to mind as you opened this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Definitely, the North Star teaching is very helpful to many people from experience from talking to our students. And if I may add my opinion, like where people get very stuck or where they feel like, what can I do or what's wrong with me, is especially when at the beginning of their insomnia or when they are in their struggles. Very often they experience a lot of anxiety, and this anxiety usually is very strong. It shows up on a physical level very often, like palpitations, heavy breathing, these um, cramps in the stomach, and these kind of really physical things. So it's very, very obvious when why they don't sleep. But as they start the journey, they start to educate themselves, they lean into knowledge and start implementing things, the anxiety goes down. But they still don't sleep, right? So this is basically very similar what you have shared. And but when they are laying in their bed, very calm, waiting for sleep, but now they wonder, why am I not sleeping, right? So, and this really nicely leads to another teaching of yours, which is like the wonder wall, where we basically we talk very often about hyperarousal, how it causes insomnia, how it causes um, these also these physical things, but at the same time, wandering is also in a way causing hyperarousal. Why am I not sleeping? What is wrong with me? Should I be doing this or that? And this itself causes us not sleeping. And how to wonder less is basically knowing this, like about Wonderwall. So yeah, this is what I wanted to add. And I think we can move on. And other nice questions are coming in. We have hi from official SK. Hi, good evening from London. Hi. And the questions would be basically, I slept fine for months and years. I had one bad night of sleep now, been stuck in insomnia for a week. Now I'm worried about FFI and SFI. So I see you seem to be very fresh and in the channel. What are your thoughts like when someone experiences like relatively quite short-term sleep disturbance and has got this thought about FFI and SFI.
Yes, yes. Oh, firstly, of course, sorry this has been happening, but glad you're here. And for anyone concerned about like FFI and SFI, I would say we have a playlist on this, and we have actually a guest whose mom has SFI who talks about this, and it really gives you a picture where you fully see that these are not insomnias, these are not sleep struggles, these are neurodegenerative disorders that are completely separate. So I think that could be very, very valuable. And the other thing here is that when somebody says like, I had one bad night and now I'm struggling with insomnia, it's like so typical, so normal. It's like exactly how it starts for so many of our students. So to me, it's like just knowing that and hearing that can just normalize it. And to give a little bit more context is, we all will have one night where we sleep less for various reasons. Typically it is we're stressed about something, we're worried about something, and that keeps us awake, right? Very, very normal, typical, we all experience that. But then for some reason we go, wait a minute, I didn't sleep, why didn't I not sleep? Maybe something's wrong with my sleep, right? And then we start monitoring our sleep, worrying about our sleep, and now we're not sleeping, not because of whatever stressful situation was the origin, but now we're not sleeping because we're worried about not sleeping, and that is essentially what we call insomnia. So I'll just leave it there and say that once we see this and we realize that being awake is not dangerous, there's nothing dangerous happening, just some misunderstanding in our brain, that can be really, really helpful.
Mm-hmm. And this is great, really nicely explained. And I would just say, like, stop Googling because you will get many scary scenarios. And yeah, you can stay for a while on this channel to really understand what is insomnia about, what is sleep disturbance, what really is that insomnia is about fear of not sleeping. But leave it right here, okay? So cool. We have hi from Jess K. Good evening, people from the UK. And Daniel and Veronika are such lovely and caring people. Thank you both. Thank you so much for this really lovely feedback. And I see no question from you, so feel free to write one if you would like to. And now, also another really nice thank you note from Brett. You all are great, can't say enough. Thank you so much. Cool. Michael Thau, is it possible that if you have chronic insomnia, that you need to be on medication permanently if everything else has failed?
To me, okay, first I'll say always no medical advice here, but to me, the answer to this question, the short answer is no, uh, not at all. I believe fully that chronic insomnia is really just based on this misunderstanding again, that we think that not sleeping is a threat and that keeps a struggle going for us. And by the way, a little side note here, chronic insomnia is basically defined as somebody having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep for more than 3 times per week for an aggregate of 3 months. But it doesn't mean anything. Somebody just made up that definition. It's not like, oh no, it's been more than 3 months. Now something is really bad. Now I've gone from acute to chronic insomnia. Somebody just made up that 3 month timeline. And to me, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's a person like, who was it?
Michael.
Michael. Yes, Michael is here with us, right? But the person who asked before, who had that one night, who was that?
It was official SK.
Oh, that was yeah, exactly. So to me, the principal difference between like official SK who's had insomnia for a week and somebody who has insomnia for 25 years is none. It's the exact same thought patterns, exact same behaviors, exact same misunderstanding that drives the struggle for somebody who had 1 week of insomnia and 25 years. There's no difference. So that I think also kind of answers Michael's question. But there's one more thing I want to comment on in Michael's question, and it is the last thing here, which is that do you need to be permanently on medication if everything else has failed? That word to me, like failed, it carries meaning. It to me signals that somebody has tried many things to achieve sleep and they have failed. And when we understand what we understand, it becomes so clear to us why this has happened, because sleep truly is effortless, passive, happens by itself when we're not trying to achieve it. But somebody who is trying many things is probably going to have trouble sleeping because they are trying. So the failure, it doesn't mean that whatever you tried was wrong, or it means like you tried and nothing worked. That means something is wrong with you. No, it just means that there was some effort there. And when that effort is gone, whether you take medication or not, sleep will happen by itself.
Right. As I read this question, I had in mind like one particular client from the insomnia immunity program, or actually they're just a sample that represents also other people. And for some people, it's kind of like really scary to go into a night like there is nothing to be afraid of. It's scary for them to work with their thoughts. It's scary for them to look inside of them. So for some people, it's really challenging this kind of approach to work with ourselves. And I remember this one client. She at the end, eventually, she said she prefers to stick with the meds because this is too scary for her, and she has been on the med for 24 years. So basically, she still can go on taking meds on and on and on. And what's most important is that she is absolutely fine and confident taking meds for her sleep. And eventually, this is also kind of like recovery, to be confident in your night. And it doesn't matter whether you take the med or not. It matters that you feel the safety. If it is with the help of the meds, it's not a problem, I think.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like if a person takes a medication every night and they sleep fine and they live the life that they want to live, to me, that person doesn't have insomnia. There's no fear in their lives. They're just living life. But that doesn't mean, that they have to, that they are required to take this medication. It's just like, this is what helps them now, or what they do,
It's your preference.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I have a hello from Maxi Science. Hi, Veronika Chak is here. Just dropping by to say hi. I have to show out this one because this is my dear student from Insomnia Immunity Program. So it's I'm really glad that you dropped by to say hello. And we have a question from Debra. Hi, Debra. Uh, Hi, I've had chronic insomnia for several months. I've tried CBTI, befriending wakefulness, and acceptance. And I don't see any question here. So I'll just say or share like watch the videos, stay on the channel, and if you have any particular question, please feel free to share. We have these Q&A sessions every week, and we are really happy to answer them.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'll just quickly sneak
sorry.
in. This is very similar to actually something we talked about before, but
Right.
of course, when we're in a struggle with sleep and we feel
Mm.
like I can't get sleep anymore, then our natural instinct as humans is going to be like, I have to do something so that I sleep, you know? And it can very much sound like befriending wakefulness is like, oh, I have to enjoy my night so that I get sleep. But in reality, befriending wakefulness and acceptance are really the same thing. It's about accepting the fact that we happen to be awake without trying to do anything about it, and kind of teaching ourselves that there is no threat, there is no danger, and then sleep happens by itself. And the reason I point this out is that when somebody says, I've tried CBTI, I've tried befriending, I've tried acceptance, it's like, it becomes so clear that these were attempts to achieve sleep, and which is not like an invitation for self-criticism. Of course not. It's so natural. But when we start to see that, I approached this with the goal of sleep, that's an effort. Oh, then that leads to something really, really helpful, I think.
I found a question from Debra, and I think you have answered it all. Like the rest of the question was, I've tried new sleep drug, doesn't work for me. I sleep maybe 1 or 2 hours. I can't get back to sleep. So, as everything in the sleep world is paradoxical, also trying to get sleep is what makes sleep more elusive. So, try to befriend wakefulness in a way that you are not trying to achieve sleep. Befriend wakefulness for the sake of befriending wakefulness. And I know you have another appointment in a couple of minutes, so let's ask one last question. And let's choose. There are so many. Um, Me and the other eye. Dear Daniel, I've been struggling with hyper-awareness around potential eye pain for 9 months now. I constantly check if my eyes are okay. I understand that eyes play a role in facilitating sleep. But my OCD has latched onto the fear that if my eye muscles were injured, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. What happens if the eye muscles are hurt? Is it true that you can't fall asleep if you move to sleep? I keep thinking they're injured and they feel stiff when I try to sleep. It's like they shouldn't move, but they do. And even the smallest injury or thought about my eyes make me cringe when they move. I try to accept it, but it's really nerve wracking. I'm obsessed thinking about how would I cope if my eye muscles were injured and how would I get to sleep. Sorry for the long message.
Okay, yeah. So if we sum this up, it sounds like me and the other eye doesn't necessarily have eye pain or an injury, but is more concerned about the hypothetical scenario where A, they do have an eye injury, and B, it is true that eye injuries prevent sleep, and C, they will be in this world where they have an eye injury. Oh, I have to charge my computer. 1 second.
No worries.
Panic.
Mhm.
There. Okay, sorry about that. So yes, so I think that's the scenario, and how I see it. And firstly, I want to say that I have no medical advice, but I've never come across any evidence whatsoever that eye damage to eye muscles or the eyes in general uh, create insomnia or prevent us from sleeping. Now, of course, there is the concept of sleep disturbance that we often talk about. Like anyone who has like some pain from the eyes, or damage to the eyes, or pain from their nose, or pain from the ears, or like anything like that could, of course, disrupt our sleep because it's painful. Like it can cause a little bit of disturbances in our sleep, but that has nothing to do with the like ongoing, like perpetual, like really difficult struggle we call insomnia, because that's an emotional struggle. So on one hand, I think like when we learn this, that can be reassuring, because we can go like, oh, so even if I have an eye injury or something going on with my eye muscles, that won't affect my sleep. Okay, that can feel kind of nice, and then we can find that struggle fading. But as we're reading through these messages, even before we saw that there were multiple messages, we could sense this, like there's a lot of deep thinking and a little bit of this like OCD type thinking. And what's tricky here is that when we look for reassurance, um, it can sometimes make us believe that the lack of reassurance, which is kind of uncertainty, is bad. And we continue to constantly look for reassurance. We're like, oh, that feels good. But how about this? I need reassurance for this. Oh, now that feels good. But how about reassurance for this, etc.? So in some shape or form, like, yes, the reassurance can be helpful, but it can also be when we see that no human being has actual certainty about their health. For example, like I have no clue whether I have some disorder that started today that is affecting my knees or my kidneys, or I have no clue about that. We all live in a great deal of uncertainty. And when we don't accept that uncertainty and we get like, but what if I have this, but what if I have that, then that can lead to struggle for us. So sometimes it is about like truly like accepting uncertainty and kind of exposing ourselves to uncertainty and befriending uncertainty that can lead us to a place where we have more peace of mind and peaceful sleep. So I'll just say that.
Absolutely, this makes perfect sense. And looking for the reassurance is like looking for a golden nugget,
Yeah.
because we never know, we can never find it, or we never know whether it's for sure. I'll
I
just
was thinking actually the other day about like, creating like a tweet around this, which I didn't get around to it, but I was thinking along the lines of like something like, how can I make sure I don't engage in reassurance seeking?
mm, mhm.
Which, the twist, of course, is that like by saying that, you're kind of looking for reassurance that you're not looking for reassurance. But I wanted to be like an eye-opening, like one liner,
Mhm.
but that was on this topic of reassurance
Mm.
seeking. But yeah, that was a little sideline.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be totally helpful, because sometimes I see it like in people that they keep asking, is it okay? Is it okay? Is it okay? But eventually, with this program, we want people to become their own coaches.
Yeah.
So they find the reassurance within themselves. So just one really quick note to me and the other eye. Uh, for me, actually, when I was struggling with insomnia and I was really, really trying hard to fall asleep, I focused in what position my eyes were. When I close my eyes, am I looking straight, or am I looking up? And I was so focused, and I even created a whole scenario like, okay, the last time probably I fell asleep when I was looking up. So I know this may sound a little bit like kind of overthinking, but when we are in this kind of like desperate place, trying to get sleep that we so much want, we are really. So I really thought like, okay, so I have to look up, and then I will maybe fall asleep. And then I was like, but what is more normal? Should I looking straight? No. So it was really, really, really like kind of like, what are you really overthinking? Like, in what position your eyes needs to be to fall asleep? And okay, so and this just shows like how much monitoring and how much effort our brain is trying to produce in this desperate attempt to achieve sleep. But when we know this, like when we let go of these desperate attempts, when we try to befriend wakefulness, when we try to befriend even monitoring, like, okay, brain, thank you that right now you are monitoring, like, in what position my eyes are right now. And when we allow it just to be, and when we don't judge ourselves for it, the things will get easier and easier. So that's what I wanted to add, my weird experience. And right, so thank you so much for today, Daniel. It was a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, thank you everybody for being here, for posting so many wonderful questions. And I'll see you next time with Coach Alina. Bye bye. Take care.